And I'm joined by Matt Long and the Revenant ones. How are you guys keeping?
Hey man, we're doing all right. Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, man. Can't complain. Well, we can all complain about last year. That's a whole different other conversation. So we won't start on that.
But we won't.
We can, but we won't. Exactly. So on the 16th of July, you guys are releasing The Other Side. Obviously, it's been a long time coming, this one, but you guys can't wait to get this out there.
Yeah, it's just been a long wait and really frustrating wait. So to finally have a date to at least do the pre-releases and all that kind of stuff is really good to know. So, you know, it's been, I don't know how long it's been since we actually started recording this thing. Like a few years ago, at least now, a couple of years, and I never anticipated that it would take this long to actually get out. All things considered, you know. Yeah. So I'm very happy to be getting this out there at last, I have to say.
I bet. So when was it actually all sort of like wrapped up, as it were, recording wise? Did you manage to get that done before the lockdown?
Yeah, it was all finished and ready to go. I mean, we were actually it was ready to go, and then we waited a bit until a good time to release it. And then unfortunately we waited too long, and then lockdown happened. So but you know, we couldn't anticipate that at all. So it was we did a Spanish tour in February of last year, just before lockdown happened. And you know, we were trying to get it at least kind of, we were getting pre-releases sold then. So we at the gigs we were like, hey, if you want to have the album, come to our mailing list, write your name down, and we'll send it to you as soon as it's out and ready. So we were doing all that. So we were planning on releasing it in like the next month or so after that.
1 year later.
Yeah, cut to like over a year later, and we're still unable to do that. But yeah, July 16th we'll be sending out the pre-releases. So anyone who wants a early copy, then sign yourself up. Bit of a shameless plug right there.
Hey, that's what the interview's for, mate. You got to do
exactly
what it's for. So I forgot what I was going to say. I've lost already.
Sorry.
It's all right. Editing's an amazing tool that I use.
Oh, I know.
So we've already played the single "So" and have my say on the show. Do you think that I know what the rest of the album's like. I've heard it, but do you think to our listeners out there that they're a good representation of the rest of the album?
I think it's. I think it is. Yeah, I think a lot of it is very kind of heavy, but also there's some light-hearted things on there and a bit more kind of upbeat things going on. And yeah, I think it's a good range on there. Certainly, we've got a few totes emotional ballads on there and things like that. But yeah, no, it's a good representation, I think.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of light shade on the album, that's for sure. Like I said, I've been fortunate enough to hear it already, and you know, thank you guys for trusting me with it. But
that's all right, you're welcome.
Thank you. But yeah, there's songs on there like Wild Animal and stuff that I really just can't wait to hear you guys rip it up live. That one,
thanks, man.
That's a fun one. Yeah,
that is a fun one to do live. I think
that's my favourite one.
Yeah, I was going to say, looking over during that one and seeing Kev just going absolutely crazy is so heartwarming.
Yeah, it's just because it's fast. I just like fast stuff. I think that's
yeah.
No wrong with that, Kev.
No, so we should have joined a thrash metal band. You'd have been
exactly
set for life. No, yeah, I think it's true though. Like all my favorite albums have that kind of the variety, but they still feel connected. You know, like you think Appetite for Destruction has just like the, you know, your Sweet Child of Mine, your nice ballads, and then like My Michelle, which is just like the dirtiest, like funky groove kind of thing ever. That's kind of where I like to go with albums. Have that kind of, you know, a song for every mood kind of thing. But you know,
I think when you get albums that do that though, that shows. You know, when you've got an album that's just like you chuck on Slayer or something, and it's just solid thrash.
Yeah,
you can kind of get lost a little bit in the album as such in terms of which song's which because it's solid all the way through. But when you've got the light and shade show in an album, I think it emphasizes when a band's gone heavier, and it's emphasizes when they've slowed it down because you've got that differentiation between.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point with Slayer because my favorite Slayer album is South of Heaven because it has that little bit more. I mean, one, the production's god tier,
amazing production on that record.
Yeah, and which for thrash metal is such a big deal because, like, you know, you think most early thrash metal albums, you know, kill them all. Ooh, I love that record, but
great record, but like you say, the production it just gets all murky and
literally. So great production, and then also there is that little bit more variety. There's some slightly slower ones that kind of build up. But sorry, I'll go on about Slayer now if you don't stop. So
I'm happy to talk about Slayer.
Yeah, but I think it totally is down to dynamic a lot of the time. Like I think it's one of the most important things in music for me, is the light and shade, the up and the down, because I mean certain bands can do it, but I personally, if I went 100% like volume level for the whole show, I'd get knackered and blow my ears out and everyone else's ears out. So I like, you know, light and shade, ebb and flow kind of thing, and just you know, I think like I say, I think it's one of the more important things, not only on an album but at a gig. You know, it's the same basic thing. It's like a set list in a way.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I enjoy it.
That's cool, man. So how does the writing process work between you guys?
It mainly stems from myself. It was initially in the very early days. It was like when I kind of first had the idea, it was going to be like a solo band, and I'd get very talented session musicians in to kind of join in. But then the second I got in a room with Adam and Kev and we started playing this stuff, it just felt really, really natural to me. And like Kev, just like especially was just like he came in kind of like last minute, and
You come in to save the day, Kev.
Yeah, he literally did.
I don't know about saving the day.
But literally we had one rehearsal, and you know, usually for me rehearsals are uncomfortable and you know, awkward things, but with Kev it was just so natural, and it's like, yeah, he absolutely nailed it straight out of the gate. And I'd barely finished writing a lot of the songs at that point, so it was just like, you know, it was.
I seem to remember there were still elements of writing and arrangement going on in in this rehearsal.
Yeah, yeah. We had
we got this gig, and we kind of got nearly all of the songs ready.
Yeah.
So
It was literally like
exciting,
we had 2 gigs lined up, and
Nice.
I said to Kev, I was like, okay, I do have another song, and don't worry, it's super easy. And we had to basically do it on, like, I think we did it during the sound check. We rehearsed it or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was
As
like,
all
yeah, that
real
was great.
Professional
But
bands do.
Oh yeah.
In the sound check.
sound checks are essentially just free rehearsals. It's fine.
That's it. It's a rehearsal.
That's how it works. It's all fine.
Genius.
Yeah, exactly.
It works.
Yeah.
Doesn't
But
matter.
no, honestly, there was just such a good like chemistry from the word go that, you know, shortly after that, we all decided that it's a proper band. It's not a solo ego project thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely a band, and we all work really well together. But the writing process will kind of stem a lot from me, but then it will kind of branch out towards these guys as well.
That's it. It's
when we
sort
hit
of a
the
role
rehearsal
I like taking on in bands where I'm not the main writer, is being able to sort of just almost like step into that kind of producery thing and just go like, let's arrange this a little bit differently, or move a section here, or dynamics, just like garnish on top, I guess. Because you know, Matt comes to you with a song, it's like, yeah, riffs, yeah, melody, yeah, chords, yeah, this is all sick. We just need a little bit of tweaking, which is great because that's super easy.
Yeah.
And then you get songwriting credits.
But I think it is
enough
always
garnish. You got
Just
to
enough garnish,
yeah, more garnish than others. Like just imagine a whole dish of garnish.
Yeah. It's like, this is great.
I've been to some restaurants like
only
that.
onions.
Just but yeah, no, it's good to kind of get another opinion on it, because when you're writing songs, you know, I've never had a moment where I've sat down and written a song and been like, yes, this is amazing. So it's always nice to be like, you know, I'm always very self-critical and things like that. So it's always nice to kind of get an outside perspective on songs when you write them. But I think a lot of the time I'll come along with either a whole song or like 90% of a song, and then things will get thrown in here and there by Kevin, Adam, and it just kind of comes together really, really well, and they always add their own thing to it, and it's just great. So
not that there's been that much of that in lockdown, though.
No,
no, true.
I suppose we do have this album, you know, that's just sort of sitting there ready to go. But yeah, I'm sure we'll work out exactly what the writing process is when we can do it again. So
if it helps, I wrote a musical.
Really,
that's kind of cool. But
that is very cool. I love that.
You wrote a musical?
I was bored, so yeah, I wrote a musical.
That'll be the next album. That'll be Adam. That'll be the Adam Pike opera.
Yeah. I can almost guarantee no one will ever listen to it, but
dude,
I like it.
I'm down.
I had fun, but
I'm down. I'm totally down.
This is what lockdown's done to me.
No wrong with that.
What's
Do a big progressive album.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Go on, I want you to tell us more about this musical. Then.
Oh, this musical. Oh, okay. Well,
Love the intrigue now, man.
Yeah.
No, you can't drop a bomb like that and then
open up
follow it up.
Pandora's box. So basically, are you familiar with the works of H.P. Lovecraft?
A little bit, not massively, but
Yeah. Well, it's basically a musical about amalgamation of H.P. Lovecraft songs minus all the awkward racism. I thought, you know what, we'll just cut that. We'll just, not sure I want to tackle that in my like random thing I'm doing. So
we'll leave it to one side.
Yeah, exactly. So it's sort of prog rock thing I did for a laugh, but follow me on Instagram. I'll post about it. It'll be fine. But it's done.
No worries. So when you're recording, do you record in the traditional way, three of you in a room, jamming it out, firing through it, or?
Yeah, we did for this album. Usually when I record other albums, for instance with Catfish, the other band I'm in, we tend to do the drums in a studio and get a good live sound for that. I mean, we'll play along, but we'll be isolated and you won't hear it on the drum tracks. And then everything else, well, pretty much everything else, maybe the bass will stay on, but pretty much everything else will be done at home because we have a home studio here and my dad is producer as well and he's also in the band, so it kind of helps out. Yeah, it mainly just, there's a few benefits that it helps financially because obviously you don't have to pay to be in a studio forever, but also it means you can spend time on it and you can kind of tweak things if you need to be tweaked and things like that. But on this one, I purposely wanted to go in a different recording process for that and actually do it traditionally, with all of us in the studio and kind of, and all of us rocking out to it essentially. So yeah, we went to Anchor Baby Studios in Kent. Our good friend Dan Lucas of Salvation Jane, he runs the studio as well. And after hearing Salvation Jane stuff, I was like, yeah, this sounds really cool. And I like Dan. I love the band, and I like he's a great guy to hang out with. So it seemed kind of natural to kind of approach him to do an album, and he very generously offered us a weekend in the studio for recording a song, like just a single song. We'll focus on it for 2 days and just kind of see how we liked it, and and then we can kind of judge whether we want to do the rest of the album there. So that was when we did the first single with the music video as well. And at that point, we were going to do an album, but at that point we hadn't really had an album put together at that point. So it is the first single of an album that didn't exist yet at that point. I mean, we had the songs started writing and all that kind of thing, but it wasn't finalized. So, but we all looked at each other and was like, yeah, this is a great place to be. And Dan's awesome to work with. He was really, really accommodating with everything. And just the first thing he did when we walked in was he sat us down and just asked us what records we like and what kind of production style we want and what kind of drum sounds like that Kev likes and just everything. He just kind of really dived into it. And I found that really, really nice. I hadn't really had that working in a studio at that point. A lot of the time it's like you're hiring the room, they don't really care, they just push the red button and play Angry Birds on their phone whilst you're doing stuff. So
we've all been in studios like that.
What it's going to sound like.
Exactly, and they tell you when they tell you what it's going to sound like, that's a bit more of an annoying thing. When
that's always a bit of a warning sign, isn't it? When I've been in studios and when that's happened, we need your bass part to sound like this, Lee, and I'm like, don't tell me what to do.
Exactly. I mean, I think there is an element of there is an element of the producer is almost like an extra member of the band in the writing process and production kind of thing. But when it gets to the point where it's like they're doing it for their own ego.
Yeah, you don't want to Bob Rock, do you?
No, exactly.
Unless you want to make all the money, but well, maybe in the 80s, but
exactly. But Dan was just a dream to work with, and I one of the most fun things we did was just finding stupid sounds to kind of go on the record, and just there was a thing we did where we found a sound and we were like, yeah, that sounds great, and we just called it Satan.
Okay.
Because it was just so mean and filthy sounding that was just like, this is a satanic sound.
And it was the track listing on the recording. It was guitar 1, guitar 3, drums, literally Satan.
And it's like,
bass, you
and
know,
just one of the
go
fun
on
things
from
just being like, I think we need to crank up the Satan, you know?
Yeah.
It's just
Just needs more.
so yeah. But yeah, no, it was fantastic. You know, it was a different experience to what I'm used to with recording, at least how I have been for the past 6 years with Catfish.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we did it. You know, there's pros and cons to both ways. You know, but I'm really happy with how this one turned out. So yeah, I wouldn't change it.
That's cool, man. Now, you mentioned Catfish there, sort of thing, and I was going to touch upon it. So, for anyone who doesn't know, obviously you guys are involved in Catfish as well as Matt Long and Revenant ones. Did you want to sort of explain the evolution of how this project came out of Catfish, and you know the difference between the two projects?
Yeah, I mean, I'd always done heavy things and rock things when I was in college, but I also did blues things as well, like kind of alongside each other. And then all of a sudden, at one point, both of those bands just fell through at the same time, so I didn't have anything to do live, you know. And I was gigging fairly often, and you know I really enjoyed it. So when they both fell through, I had nothing. So I went to my dad and I was like, "Do you want to start up a blues covers band just to play in pubs, make a little bit of money, have some fun more than anything?" And he said, "Sure." So we found a couple of musicians down at a local jam, and yeah, we did exactly that. We just played a whole bunch of blues covers in pubs for at least the beginning of it. And then when we recorded something, because if you record something, it's much easier to get gigs. All of a sudden, internet radios kind of picked it up, and everyone was really interested in it. And we were like, okay, well, maybe we can do a little bit more with this. And we did more gigs, more further afield. And then all of a sudden, we started writing original stuff, and it just evolved into a proper band, like an originals band. And then 6 years later, here we are touring around Europe and got plans in the States and things like that. And just, you know, we're 2 original albums down, and you know, it's great. You know, it's I never expected it to happen like that. But the way this band kind of formed out of that was because I'd been doing that for so long. I think at that point it was about 4 years straight of doing only that, which is great. I loved it, but I was missing doing the heavy things and doing the heavy rock things.
Yeah.
Which is why that kind of, you know, that's why it was initially going to be a solo project, because then it was like I didn't have to tie it down to a strict schedule and things like that, because then it, you know, you can fit in between each one. But then again, it naturally evolved into a proper band, which I'm so happy with. It just makes it feel so much better. But yeah, I'd work with Adam because Adam's in Catfish as well. And you know, we've been working together all the time since college, and we've been in other bands as well.
And I'm very cheap as well. Very affordable.
Yeah, he fits in the car rather nicely as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, I always enjoy working with Adam, so I was like, yeah, this is natural. Like when the other bass player decided to leave, yeah, I was like, first guy came to mind was Adam, and then in between all that, we were doing the Revenant ones at that point, and then all of a sudden, our previous drummer in Catfish left as well. You know, I think touring live just wasn't for him anymore. So yeah, I was already working with Kev at that point, and I was like, who do I know that would be just great? He was really fun to work with, and just and I know who can do anything, like on the drums, just like can play anything. And I was like, maybe the guy that I'm already working with. So yeah, we are essentially in 2 bands together, like minus 1 member essentially. But I actually really enjoy that. It's quite nice to be able to flip the switch really easily all the time. So yeah, it is actually quite an interesting process, actually doing it almost the same members. You know, and it's, you know, like I say, these guys, you know, they're like family to me. So
a lot of love. I can feel that, man. There's a lot of love.
I just bring 2 different basses, so I don't forget which band I'm playing with. Yeah, I'm like 6. But okay, this is the Catfish bass, nice and chill. This is the aggressive, angry bass. Okay, cool.
Basses will tell you that, man. I know that.
They will. It's yep.
And I have different sticks, so
there you go. It's basically the same thing. Yeah. Well, you would have different sticks, right? You'd have right hand stick, left hand stick.
And then you've got, you know, then there's the heavy right hand stick, and you know, depend. Yeah, I don't know. not saying now.
I just draw a little R, little L.
You say that. I was watching I don't know if you've been watching them, but Dane Campbell, Phil Campbell, the Bastard Sons, there's a Drum for the Song podcast. And I was watching that, and he was talking to Mickey D of Motorhead, former Motorhead, now Scorps. And Mickey was saying that he actually has he's done it with the Scorpions logo now, but before it was like the snaggletooth of Motorhead, and he had different colours ones on the end for different weights, and he would play different weight sticks to different songs.
Wow. Okay, that's I don't know.
That would just throw me off, man. I'd be like,
For me, that was like, okay, that's a little bit step too far. But
Well, it's like with Vinnie Paul. It's like Vinnie Paul from Pantera playing with the sticks backwards. I'm like, that must feel so weird, and I ain't gonna complain. Pantera sounds awesome. So.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would try to tell Vinnie Paul how to play drums. Bless him.
Exactly.
That's it.
So, what you're saying? You got a lot of different music tastes, obviously, but what bands do you like that people might be surprised by? Consider T's stat files.
You guys want to go first?
Michael Bolton.
Michael Bolton.
out there.
Bolton.
Yeah.
Kevin and I have both said, like, the second we both realized that we both like Michael Bolton, we were just like, and we're planning on getting front row seats to his next tour.
So that's where the ballad side of things comes from, then.
Oh,
That's it. Yeah.
he's just one of the best singers of all time, and there's no denying that.
Went to see him a couple of years ago. Hands down, one of the best gigs I've ever been to. Him and his band were just professionals, and it was just a class show. It was a really, really class show. Yes, I would,
they do this every time, and I'm just saying, it's like, yeah, cool, man. Yeah.
We're gonna bring you with us, and we're gonna change your mind.
Yeah.
I got you into Dream
that's
Theater.
cool,
I got you into Dream Theater. I'll get you into Michael Bolton.
Things are very much compatible and not in any way different.
Yeah. No. Yeah. We like a bit of everything and anything, really. I try and keep my horizons as open as I can. I always say, there's a bit of good in everything. You just have to go and find it.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything people would be surprised about with me. They people would take one look at me and go like, oh yeah, I listen to K-pop, and be like, yeah, no, that tracks. Yeah. he also listens to Meshuggah. Yeah, no, I'd buy that as well. He's got that look about him, that sort of greasy white guy stoned look that he would listen to all these things. I'm like, yeah, fair.
Yeah.
So I remember me and mates, we went to go, like you guys, I like a lot of different things. And when I was at university, Public Enemy were playing. We went to go watch Public Enemy. And we were probably the only guys in there who weren't wearing dude rags and stocking caps. And we walked in, and it was all like just things that they were like middle class white guys pretending to be, and we were just like just be yourself, man. I mean, I think the only link we had in what we were wearing to Public Enemy was the fact that my mate Adrian was wearing an Anthrax t-shirt,
right?
By coincidence, and I think that was the only sort of link thing. And we all walked in, and you could see them walking in as we walked in. Had my hair long at the time, and the piercings and tattoos on show, and we all walked in. You could see them going, "Why are they here? What is going on?" And then Public Enemy came on, and I love Public Enemy. I love sort of 80s hip hop, and we were rapping along, enjoying ourselves, and you could see them going, "What is happening?" It's just like, other stuff, man. It's all good. Don't worry about it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Once it all kicks off, everyone's like, "Oh no, they're in. They're in.
Yeah.
They know everything. It's cool. It's fine."
Yeah, I think that's actually why I enjoy metal shows so much. It's like one of those things where everyone's welcome, and if someone falls over, everyone picks you up, kind of thing. It's a very welcoming audience, despite everyone's preconceived notions about how it looks and things like that. It's very, very nice and a big community kind of thing. So I really enjoy it. But I have to say, one of the funnest gigs I've been to audience-wise was Madness.
Oh, Madness is a great audience, man.
They're a fantastic band.
Yeah.
But I've never seen a more polite mosh pit in my life. Because it's just a whole bunch of 50-year-old dudes going, "No, sorry, no, sorry."
It's
But
lots of
everyone was
elbows.
just driving. It was so good.
It's always gonna cause a
Elbows,
ruckus.
everything, knees up, everything.
Yeah.
It was great.
Dude,
Yeah, no, honestly, that was one of the coolest audience gigs I've ever seen.
It's just reminded me so bad. So brief story, but do you guys know Versailles? They're a Japanese. So they call it. It's a visual K or Kai. I don't know how you say it. Basically, they're like a power metal goth band,
Okay.
but they wear like these most just ridiculous flamboyant, they're meant to look like, French Revolution noble style kind of thing.
Right.
It's really like full on. And I found them on YouTube. I'm like, this is sick. This is so cool. And they were playing one show in London. So I'm like, well, I've got to go. None of my friends want to go. They're like, there's some weird Japanese band Adam likes. I'm not going to that. But I'm like, all right, I'll go by myself. It'll be fine. And I'm there just like, metal t-shirt, leather jacket. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, well, they dress up fine. I had not expected every single other member of the audience to be full gothed up, like dresses, feathers. You could not tell, ladies and dudes, we're all just a mass of people, and then there's me just at the back with like a drink, just like, it's great, isn't it? It's cool, yeah. On my own as well. Best gig I've ever been to. It was so much fun. But, like, I've never felt as underdressed anything. I'm like, I should have bought like I could have brought a raven with me. That would have got me in. That would have been fun. Just have it there, Absolutely crazy. Great band though. Really good.
That sounds like it. It sounds like it'd be a good fun night out. Like whether you like the band or not, it's just like, oh, this.
Yeah, it's like a fashion show. It was sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to remember to dress up next time, mate. For the occasion.
Oh, mate, next time once this is all over and they're back in London, I'm going. I'm buying a dress. It's going to be great. Flowing trails. It'll be sick.
He just comes into rehearsal one day with like one of those massive like rings around his neck, like the William Shakespeare thing. Just like, I'm just trying it out.
Yeah. Just trying out a new
Top
vibe,
hat,
man.
everything.
Yeah, this is my new scene. Just going for that Paris nobleman look.
Yeah. Bring it to the stage when you guys play. Look great.
Yeah. What could go wrong?
I wish I could have seen you just sat there like jeans and a t-shirt and just a sea of camp.
Oh yeah, man. No, I don't think I was even getting any looks. I was just having a great time. I'm like, that's sick. That's great. I was just like, I was kind of pissed, to be honest, as well, because I was on my own. So I'm like, I'm gonna be drinking. Let's go. But like, I was just like waving at people like, that looks sick. That's great. You're awesome. I was very drunk by this point. It's fine. Anyway.
You get home like after a night out, got a big headache on, and all of a sudden you wake up, take the bed sheet off. It's like, why am I dressed in all this uniform?
I just like covered in feather boas, just like, what the fuck did I do last night?
You say that I was again going back to uni when we went to a pub one night, rock pub we used to go to when I was living in Norwich, and there was a fight broke out, and we were all sort of like, oh, bollocks, let's just leave. So we left to go to the waterfront where they have the sort of rock club nights and gigs and stuff going on there. On Saturday night used to be the sort of rock and metal club night that we used to go. We'll just go straight to the waterfront. Let's just get away from, going with the fight wasn't involving any of our friends. We didn't want to get fucking in it. So we're just like, you know what, we'll just go to the waterfront early. And we got down on the waterfront, and it was like a good couple of hours earlier than we normally would have gone, sort of thing. And we sort of like, are you guys open yet? And they're like, we are, but there's a gig on. And we're like, and if you pay to go to a gig at the waterfront, whatever club night was on afterwards, you got in for free anyway. So,
that's cool.
Fair enough.
So we were like, well, you know what? We're going to pay to go into the club night anyway. So how much is it? And it was like 10 quid or something. So we were just like, let's just get in. We can go in, we can have a drink. I don't care who's on. But it was one of those like 80s revival tour things.
Okay.
Right.
And we sort of like walked in, got to the bar, and like Tapao or someone was playing. And we were just like, okay, whatever, didn't care. We're in, we've got away from the fight, we're going to have a drink, and in a couple of hours we'll be fine. And then the headline act, unbeknownst to us, was Kajagoogoo.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Nice.
Really brilliant.
Dude, yeah, man. Nick Beggs on bass.
Exactly.
Phenomenal.
I mean, Adam as a bass player as well, and Nick Beggs is a genius.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I had the best sort of like post-night text the following morning from my mate. Normally you get a text and you're like, have you seen my wallet? Have I seen my phone? That kind of thing, what happened? I got a text from my mate the following morning saying, dude, did we watch fucking Kajagoogoo?
Like, did that actually happen? What? That's so good.
Like, yeah, we did, Glenn. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, those are the best kind of gigs when you have to ask whether you actually went to them or not.
No one believed us either, because there were some people that we met like later on in the night who were out separately to us. And obviously this was by the time the club night kicked off, and they were all sort of in, and they were just in the middle of like a heavy metal club night sort of thing. And they're like, "What have you been up to tonight?" I'm like, "Oh, we saw Kajagoogoo." And they're like, "What? No, you didn't. What are you?" And we had to like, because there's like, I don't know if you guys have been to the Waterfront in Norwich, but there's like 2 rooms. There's upstairs and there's downstairs. Now downstairs is where all the gigs are, and upstairs, they did put gigs up on there for like rising bands and stuff, but that tends to be where the sort of club nights are. So we had to like go downstairs and point at the poster on the wall because they were still taking stuff down.
We're like, no, we can prove it. We can.
Sort of frog march our mates downstairs and went, "Look, they're still taking things down. We did see Kajagoogoo. Don't you?"
How crazy would it be if you get down there and all the posters are gone? There's no band there. And it's like, whoa.
Did we actually?
whoa, wait a minute.
You ask someone there is like Kajagoogoo. Who? I don't know.
No, what are you talking about, mate? Like, what was in my drink?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys got, other than you mentioned the Speed Live shows, you mentioned obviously your album launch show stuff. Where's that held again this time around?
Well, the pre-launch is happening at the Rec Rooms in Horsham.
Okay.
And what that is essentially all the people who have pre-released, who ordered the pre-released version of the album. That's when it's being released to them, and they'll get their versions of it after so long of waiting.
Yeah.
And you know, we eternally thankful for everyone's patience with that, and you know, it's obviously beyond our control, but even so, it's still frustrating just how, you know, we had it's here, we have the album, and we've had it for like a year now. And it's just been sat there, just like, I want to send it to people, I want it to go. We've got boxes and boxes of these things, I just want them to go. So it does feel good to actually get them out to all the guys who actually, you know, invested in the band, and just, you know, they from as early on as our first gig, we even actually had like the pre-release thing at our first gig, because it was like, yeah, well, we're going to be making an album at some point, so you know, put your name down and we'll send you a copy, you know, pre-release kind of thing. So it's been like, I don't know how long the band's been going, like 3 years of pre-releases going. And yeah, it just feels really good to just finally have a date to be like, yes, these fine people are going to get this album before anyone else. And yeah, it does feel good. And yeah, the Rec Rooms, we played there before with Catfish, and looking forward to playing it again with Revenant ones. I think it's been done up since we've been there last, actually. I think there's a whole new stage and everything, so be interested in see how that goes.
I missed the postage stamp. Where is it? Come on.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad, but
Yeah, I know.
It was sequestered in a corner, which
Yeah.
I always feel really comfortable in a corner. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's got a
This
wall
is my
there.
happy space.
Yeah.
But no, it was like all decked out with like old vinyls on the wall and things like that.
Yeah, no, it was.
Which is really cool. And like it was a really cool looking room, like old cassettes on the wall and things like that. And yeah, so I'm curious to see what they've done.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we're really looking forward to that. And yeah, more than anything, it'll be another gig, which we haven't had for a year. So
Yeah, remember those?
yeah.
As long as the redecorating isn't taken away from the atmosphere, that's all. You want to
Fine. You know,
That's
at this
it,
point, I'll
yeah.
take anything. You know.
I remember there's that pub I was saying about where we walked off from a fight and all that. It was one of those pubs where it was a dive, but it was our dive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
And that was the Marquis in Norwich, and it was a complete dump, but it was our dump. And like the toilets, the gents' toilets were amazing. Like I was describing to my dad, and my dad didn't believe me until he came up for a gig, basically. And the toilets where they were, there was no door. You walked through the pool room, there was just sort of an opening, and it was like an old wet room. And it was just like a wet room with guttering around the perimeter.
Oh, no,
and it was
lovely.
just like, piss up a wall, it'll be okay. And I said, I'm going to send it to my dad, and he's just like, no, they can't be that bad. Surely they won't be able to let them have them that bad, man. And my dad came up for a gig. I can't remember what we see. Then we went to go see Airborne or something, and he came up for that. And we're in the pub having a few drinks beforehand. And he's, you know, a couple of beers in, and my dad's gone, "Oh, Lee, man, where's the toilets?" And I'm just, well, follow your nose, Dad, to be honest. But
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always good.
round that end, and he sort of walked round. He came back just going, "You weren't fucking wrong, were you?" No. But they had they were closed for like refurbishment, and someone else took it over, and they closed for a week for refurbishment, and we're all sort of going, "No, they can't make it nice. That's not that." And on the Friday,
I miss my terrible toilets.
yeah, and the Friday that they reopened, we went in for a beer when they reopened, like, and there's me and the mate sort of looking around going, Other than sort of having a Hoover and a polish, I don't see it actually changed.
Yeah, well,
And we're like, okay, we can cope with that. At least
Yeah, we can live
yeah,
with this.
we're not sticking to the floor or anything. So that's fine. And then a couple of beers in, my mate Adrian was the first to go to the toilet. He's like, he came back and he went, "You won't believe what they've done." And we went, "What?" He went, "They put the door back on the gents." That was their whole.
They can't do this to us.
no, why would you do that?
The whole refurbishment was like Hoover and a polish and like putting the door back on the gents, and that was it. We're like,
Yeah, I was gonna say
Fair
a
enough.
week for that. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna open the door in an evening. Come on.
It was obviously a very slow refurbishment. Someone was
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, gave up halfway through. I think everyone
was
kind of
ready
has
for
those
just, like,
places,
you
though.
know, the full
Like,
level of
everyone has,
like,
like,
they
the
cleaned up the
dives.
piss stains, those bastards.
Yeah, exactly.
How could they?
Yeah, it's like, why am I not sticking to the floor? This is how you keep people in. But yeah, I think everyone has those kind of places, you know, like the from an outside perspective, it will, you know, it looks terrible, but you enjoy it for whatever reason. The one that I couldn't get on with in college, there was a place, there's a nightclub, and I'm not really a clubbing guy anyway, but there's a nightclub in Guildford called Casino, and all of the people at ACM went there all the time, and I was like, you know, I never really wanted to go in there. It didn't look like my kind of thing. Like I said, I'm not clubbing or anything.
Yeah.
But there was one night I was really drunk with all my friends, and they were all going there. I was like, well, I'm not going to not go in and just go home. So I went in, and good God, it was awful. And like,
But nightlife's just rubbish, man. There's just nothing
it
going on.
just was. It was like
We're stuck
it
there
literally
for
was like
3
the whole thing
years.
was sticky. Everything was sticky, and just it was awful. And I went in the toilet, and there was mushrooms growing out of the ground. I'm like, this is not okay. And like this, but everyone else was like, nah, that's part of the charm. I was like, no, we're gonna catch something. This is gonna be awful. This is terrible. And like, it's been closing down for years, and I don't know how it's still here. It's just one of those places that's like, it just survives every kind of like foreclosure. I'm just like, what's going on? Just die.
The Marquis was like that. We went to go have a drink one night, and there was a notice on the door: building is being condemned by the council due
Yeah.
to being unsafe for human habitat and stuff. And we were like, we've been drinking in there for 3 years.
So we came out fine.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more of a guideline than a.
Exactly.
You come out unscathed. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't know. So we sort of touched on Wild Animal earlier, but what other songs from the album are you looking forward to people's reactions to, ones they may not have heard?
Songs on the album again?
It's been so long.
Things so long ago, Kev, you forgot.
Yeah, we'll have to learn it all again.
Yeah. I think have we played them all? There's got to be
We've
some we haven't
played them all
live.
at least once.
At least
at a
once,
gig.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. I've enjoyed playing them at all these gigs so far. I'm just like, yeah, we've already kind of been playing them for so long because it's taken us so long to get the album out. I think one that I'm excited for people to listen to is "Feel Like a Saint," which is actually going to be our upcoming single.
Ah, cool.
Because that one is really, really fun to play. That's probably our heaviest one. Yeah, I would say that's probably our heaviest one. And yeah, it's just really brutal for me, and you know, it's just super fun to play.
Yeah, it's
There's
just the ending with that one because it's because like it, you know, it's pretty in keeping with our oeuvre, I suppose. You know, for the most part, and then we get to the end, and then it's just lots of tritones stacked on top of each other in horrible patterns, and we're like, just have it. That's that's the one that I always you sort of look at the audience afterwards and go, "Are you still with us? Was that
it's
too
good,
much?"
okay.
You know, you have that like for Back to the Future moment where you look at the audience and you're like, "You guys might not have been ready for that one."
Yeah.
The kids are gonna love it. But,
Yeah. That's literally it. That is like the gauging moment of like every gig is like, "You all cool? You all good?"
yeah,
Because we have done a couple of gigs to
we'll play the Rocky one now. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Because we have done a couple of gigs in venues that we have played with Catfish,
Oh, yeah.
kind of bluesier venues. So it's always kind of like, Is it gonna go down well? Is it
Yeah,
not? I
yeah.
don't know.
That's the only one, just because of that, just because it's the ending as well. If it was
Yeah.
like we went very aggressive in the middle and then
Yeah,
chilled out a bit, but
that was one with much Satan on the slider.
oh, that was
There's a-
very Satan.
That was a
Very
lot of Satan.
Yeah, yeah,
Satan was turned up.
yeah. Yeah.
Crank the Satan up to 10.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I say heavy. It's all comparative, isn't it? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
like that heavy for the rest of the stuff we
Yeah.
do. You know, we're not Meshuggah.
Yeah,
as much
compared
as
to
I'd like
like
to do.
people like Meshuggah
Yeah.
and Lamb of God, it's not like super heavy. But yeah, for us, it's quite. It is our favorite headbanging moment. There's a lot of headbanging throughout the set, but that is like
Yeah.
the big old like I'm gonna do it now.
Yeah, it's not that heavy. My business partner is the drummer for Heart of a Coward.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah, he's like he'll be like, yeah, that's pretty heavy, man.
I played him that song and I said, "Oh God, I think this is some of the heaviest stuff I've ever recorded," and he just laughed.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, yeah, sweet. That's
Yeah,
real cute,
exactly.
man. It's
Cool
real
story,
cute.
bro.
That's we're listening to, like, yeah. I bet it's it's all comparative, isn't it?
It's all relative.
Whatever
That's it. That's it.
hearing, but yeah, I think if somebody into blues listened to it, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, this is well heavy." Someone in the rock would be like, "Yeah, this is the sweet spot," and then metal would be like, "Ah, it's cool." It's
Yeah,
good."
I can get into
A
this.
nice
one.
chill one for the evening. Yeah, cool.
There have been like a few people who have been like under the impression that we're kind of a blues rock band, which is something that I've been trying to shake. So songs like that kind of hammer the point home a little bit more.
Yeah. It's like you can hear the influences in it because
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's just what we like. That's just like we
It's
have
always bit to add to the soup, as it were, isn't it? And it's
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just yeah, you try and get people's expectations right that we're not gonna. This isn't a 12-bar band.
No, definitely not.
This is angry band. And then,
So you guys are touring September, is it? Is it September or so?
Yes, obviously fingers crossed, but yeah, we got plans for September coming out, and yeah, like I said, the pre-release in July. Yeah, July. So yeah, it's looking to be the second half of the year being quite busy, but like everything else, it's all kind of got to wake up a little bit first. So we're still hopeful. Vaccine and everything. There's a lot of hope going on with all that. So on a good wind, September we'll be touring again, which is good.
Cool, man. So on the show we do a feature, or I do a feature anyway, called Teenage Kicks, where I get people to choose songs from the teenage years, songs that influence them. So can I get a song from each of you guys? Songs that made you want to pick up bass, guitar, drums, respectively, or just songs that sort of sum up.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's good. That's good.
I've got to pick one song.
Yeah.
That's difficult. Okay.
It's funny because like literally last night I was hanging out with my sister and we were talking about songs that are like way older than we ever thought they were.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So like I can't remember why, but we ended up looking at 2003, and I just had this moment where like every like goth emo song that I'm embarrassed that I like now, all of it came out in 2003. It was kind of scary. It was like plumbing, Bring Me to Life, Evanescence,
Hell yeah.
awful, hate it, but
What? I love that song.
No, awful.
Hey man, I used to cover that song.
Yeah.
I'm out on that one. But there were some ones. Numb, Linkin Park,
Tune.
Anthem for people my age.
Oh yeah, tune.
That one's pretty good. What was it? There was like, I think it's 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge is like 2003 or 4.
Yeah, that'd be around about that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird though, because some of those bands I still like. Now, My Chemical Romance is still badass. I have no problem with that at all. But
it's funny, I never got into them first time round, but since I don't know if it was because when they sort of exploded with like the Black Parade and stuff, and everybody's going, Lee, you've got to listen to this, and I'm terrible if someone goes, you have to listen to this.
I'm the same, yeah.
I won't.
Yeah.
If there's that much hype, I think it kind of spoils it. But since they sort of reformed, and I was been listening to stuff back since they reformed, I'm like, why don't I listen to this more? I mean, there was albums I heard and stuff, don't get me wrong, but to give it that much attention, I mean, Black Parade
Yeah.
is just a stormer of an album.
It's a masterpiece.
It's an absolute perfect album. I
Yeah.
have to say. Yeah, I need to go back and
Yeah,
actually
like-
listen to the other ones because I never really gave the other ones a chance because I just loved that album so much.
No, they're good as well. It's just
yeah.
like, because that back in like that sort of time frame, I was really into that whole scene. And like My Chemical Romance was just so much better than every other band doing that
Yeah.
thing. You know, like you look at what was popular then, like In Fear and Faith and Alisana and stuff like those kind of emo bands, and you're like, these guys were so much better.
Yeah.
So much better. But
I
yeah,
always remember feeling really sorry for them. I think it was Download 2007 I was at, and they were headlining the Friday on the main stage. And like I say, I wasn't really into them at the time. Korn were headlining the second stage.
Yeah.
So I went to go watch Korn because I just prefer them, just each of their own and all that.
Yeah.
And it was that thing at Download at the time where the second stage headliner would finish, so you could pretty much watch most of the main stage headliner. And we were like, okay, cool. Well, we might go watch a bit afterwards or whatever, but we're going to watch Korn first. And it was the 10th for Korn was just rammed because the second stage was in like a big marquee thing.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely rammed. You couldn't, we were lucky to get in it and we were lucky to survive it, sort of thing.
nice,
And
yeah.
there wasn't any more mosh pits because there wasn't any room.
Yeah,
It was that sort of jam packed in. Everybody was like this watching.
nice.
Everybody, they going for jump the fuck up, and you're like, I can't move.
I'd love to if only I could. Yeah.
So everyone has to do it at once.
Just one thing. But when they finished, the security, you could see all the security who had been in the second stage, like on their radios and stuff, and clearly get messages and all the rest of it. And you're like, what's going on? And they sort of barge through the crowd as the crowd leaving the second stage, making their way over to the main, and everybody's kind of going, oh, well, something's kicking off on the main stage. And by the time we got round the back and over the hill to where the main stage was, My Chemical Romance had left. And they should have still been on stage, but it was basically because people were bottling them. Because he didn't want to watch them. And like I say, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the biggest My Chemical Romance fan, because I'm not. But equally, it's a festival, 4 stages.
Yeah, there's going to be people there who
want to like them, just go over there and watch someone.
Yeah, go watch Korn.
When I was a teenager and My Chemical Romance were around and big and stuff, I didn't like them.
No.
They are a band that I've gotten into now in my 30s. I've listened to them and go, actually, this is great. But yeah, at the time, I wasn't.
I think it was the vibe, man. It was the vibe and the fan base, because there was definitely, I don't know, there was definitely like that. A lot of their fans. I don't want to, because I was a fan as well, so I was probably guilty of this as anyone. But they gave off a vibe of, I don't know. They became easy to hate. It's kind of like, you guys like video games like Undertale.
Yeah.
Like Undertale's a really good game, right? But its fan base can, on occasion, be somewhat obnoxious, which makes it easy to not like the Undertale the game, because it's this thing that a lot of annoying people look to. Do you know what I mean? That was kind of the vibe I got with My Chemical Romance. They're really good, but there's a lot of.
I think that's what mainly stopped me looking into them as much. I mean, the songs I heard at the time didn't really. I'm like Kev at the time. It didn't really grab me, truth be told. It is stuff like I was saying, since they've reformed and since they've started getting played about a bit more since they did the reformation, I've started listening to again and giving it a bit more of a shot in a more of a retrospective sense.
Yeah.
At the time I wasn't a fan, so I went to go watch Korn because I liked Korn. So
I love Korn as well.
I think it is very much an age. I think with them it is very much an age thing as well. Like it definitely was more popular with the younger audience. I think where it was. I think it was even a very specific age as well. Like I remember I think I was about 15 when I got into them, and I was like, it's just something about that kind of pubescent age, or just like anarchy and all that kind of thing going on. That's when it really hit you, those kind of music. Because I had a whole bunch of friends who were into it, and they got me into it, and I was like, yeah, this is great. I really enjoy this, and I still do today. I actually remember walking around the supermarket the other day with my headphones on, just blasting Black Parade, and I was like, this is just a great album. Like, I don't care what you're into. Just like, it doesn't matter what kind of music you're into. If you like anything just like well put together, it's a really well put together album.
Yeah. And my other thing with that band is they picked the exact right time to split up as well. Because you look at a lot of other bands from that age, and now like Panic at the Disco. Ooh, that's
well, it's more of like they all kind of. when you compare them to when they first started, it is definitely way different. You know, they evolve into something that's more in tune with the modern age. So yeah, it is definitely weird when you compare both the beginning of Panic at Disco to the nowadays Panic at Disco. It's two different
just
bands.
One guy now, just
basically
making pop hits. It's
yeah.
Like, cool.
But they're good at what they do, I think. But just when you compare it to what they were doing before, it is quite strange.
No, I mean,
anyway,
I
we've
wasn't
gotten
a huge
very off
fan
topic.
at the time,
I
but...
think we need to.
Anyway, yeah.
We need to pick one song, guys, that influenced us as teenagers.
When you say one song, do you mean one song each or one song? One song each. Okay. Well, it could be My Chemical Romance, to be fair.
You guys go first. I'm sort of deciding between two in my head, and I still haven't quite worked it out yet.
Which two? We'll vote. Which two?
Which vote? Cold Sweat by Thin Lizzy, because Thin Lizzy was like, a band that my dad showed me, and it was kind of one of the first bands I started getting into. And I heard that song, and that was a massive game changer for me, because it was this, this rocky, bluesy pop sort of band. And then the Cold Sweat album and the Thunder and Lightning album, it was just, it was so heavy, and it was driving, and it really ignited something and made me want to play the drums. And the other one is Prisoners by Clawfinger. They're sort of a crossover rap metal band from Scandinavia, and when I heard them, that was a huge part of my teenage life. Listening to that, and so it's kind of like, I'm sort of a bit torn between the two.
Go for Clawfinger. I think not many people would have heard of them. You need to shout out.
More people are inclined to have heard Thin Lizzy. But yeah, Clawfinger,
I'm trying to think of stuff that like came out when I was a teenager, because like I think Tool came out, 10,000 Days came out in 2006, so I was 12.
Yeah.
But that was a very formative album. But like a little bit later than that, like In Waves, Trivium, that was a big one. I think Unto the Locust came out around then as well. Machine Head, that was a big one when I was that. It's not that like their best album, like I still think Machine Head's probably out there, but like fucking the one with Brain. What's the one with Halo on it? That's just gone.
No idea.
I'm never gonna remember. That's a great album. But Unto the Locust came out in like 2013, 2014, and that was like a big moment for teenage Adam. Yeah, stuff like that. I liked a lot heavier stuff when I was younger.
Yeah,
I still do, but like, it's a good question. I'm trying to think like where was I when this album?
It's like, what did I
out?
do?
What was I doing?
Yeah,
I was doing my A levels when I heard Iconoclast Symphony X, which is like around then as well, and that's like still one of the best things I've ever heard ever. Like.
Oh, I wasn't a teenager when Prisoners came out. Sorry, I realised
we're doing the math.
You old man.
Thing in my head, like,
yeah.
What year did it come out? It was like 2007. Oh, how old was I in 2007? I was 23.
There you go. That's it. I'm taking it back. I'm time and place. You know, I'm like, where was I? What was I doing? Was I in quarantine? No, probably not yet. But it feels.
Wasn't
like
that long ago?
No, I wasn't. Oh god, I can't math. I can't math today. What's going on? So you guys talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to work this out.
Get the calculator out, Kev. You got time.
You need a calendar, Kev.
Yeah.
Well, I'll pick one. I got one. I got a good one.
Space Waves.
What you got, Matt?
Okay, I'm gonna go and pick one of the OG rock bands of nowadays, which is Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
I remember being really into them as a kid.
Shout.
They were one of the current big rock bands that really hit me. I had a lot of different music. Like I said, growing up, I listened to a lot of different things. I listened to a lot of blues mainly when I was really young, and then that kind of gradually progressed into rock and metal and things like that. So I think Foo Fighters for me were a good modern day rock band for me. So I guess I was a teenager when songs like The Pretender came out. So I'm going to pick The Pretender by Foo Fighters.
That's good.
Yeah, Wasting Light was 2011.
People have heard of them. So
No, you know.
Yeah.
I've just worked it out, by the way, guys. I know you were hanging on bated breath.
I need to know, Kev. I need to
I was
know.
18 when Prisoners by Clawfinger came out, so it does count.
It counts.
Counts,
We
man.
win. We did it. We got
Good
them.
job, yeah. Good job, Kev.
Thanks, guys.
You were the right age at that time. Good job.
Hold on, you were still a teenager.
No, yeah, because yeah, Pretenders on Echo, Science, Patience, and Grace, right?
Yeah, that was like 2007.
It is 2007.
Yeah.
I've just
So I
started googling things now. I just want to know.
Because I
So,
ended
yeah,
up.
I would have been 13 when that came out.
I saw him on that tour at Wembley in 2008.
Oh, I would have loved to have gone to that gig.
Well, I
I
actually
saw
ended
him
up
on the
going
next
by
one.
like very, very last minute.
Hmm.
My housemate at the time, Ben, both me and him were huge Foo Fighters fans. His brother got tickets for the show, got him a ticket. Also, it sold out really quick. I didn't manage to get a ticket. And then one of Ben's brothers, his brother, one of his mates was kind of like dicking him about paying for the ticket.
Right.
Saying sort of like, oh, you know, I'll pay you next week. And then basically Ben was from Bristol. So he, his mate went to the train station, or his brother and his mates who were going went to the train station. And this guy turned up expecting still to be able to have the ticket without having paid for it. And he was like, well, give us the money for the ticket. He's like, oh, I'm skint. I can't pay for the ticket. And he went, well, you're not coming then. You know, you've dicked me around for like 4 months or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, you're not going to get anyone last minute who wants a ticket. So Ben's brothers like, I don't care. You're not coming. And then basically got on the train and called up Ben and said, like, does any of your mates want to come see the Foo Fighters? Because we've got a ticket. And so I lived with him at the time, and I was busy getting for work, ready for work, so a part-time job while I was at uni and all that. And I literally sort of opened my door, like towel around waist, about to go have a shower, and Ben's like that, about to knock on my door, and I'm like, "What's up, dude?" And he's like, and he was he was that excited he couldn't even talk. I got sort of like a Foo Fighters Wembley ticket spare. What?
Oh
And
yeah.
he eventually sort of like went, John's got a spare ticket for the Foos. It's yours if you want it. And I went, yeah, man, definitely. When are you leaving? He went, in an hour. And I went, shit. He's like, aren't you working today? I'm like, not anymore. I'm not.
Not
No.
anymore. Yes.
Tell you what I did, Kev. I was just like, give me a minute, Ben. Just walked back into my bedroom, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not coming in from. And I remember because I was so excited, I didn't even do this sort of false ill voice. I literally just went, I'm not coming in today. I'm ill. And they went, you don't sound very ill, Lee. And I went, oh, I got the shit, so don't affect your voice.
Yeah, that's a smart one.
Shaky.
And it's a good one because no one wants to talk to you if you're saying you've got the shit.
That's a good
So there's like a top 10 rule list that I live by, right? Number 1 is eat when you can. Number 2 is wee when you can. And number 3 is blame it on your ass because no one ever argues with your ass. Definitely, nobody ever asks.
No one wants to talk about it. So I literally just went, oh, I've got the shit to turn affect your voice. And my boss went, right, I'll see you next week. Later.
Done.
like texting, like we'll get like it was literally like it was about 40 minutes from being told I was going to like being on a train from Norwich down to London. And I remember my dad sort of texted me just going, oh, hey dude, how's your day going? What are you up to today? I text him going, oh, I'm going to see the Foo Fighters. And I think within about 30 seconds of me sending this text, my dad called me going, why the fuck didn't you tell me you were going to see the Foo Fighters? I'm like, because I found out 35 minutes.
Oh man, I would have loved to.
They had like John Paul Jones and Jimmy Page.
Yeah, that I would have loved to have gone. There's like 2 big Wembley gigs that I wish I would have gone to. And there's that, and there's also the first time Muse played at Wembley.
Yeah,
the HAARP tour.
Yeah,
and yeah, I remember my mum and my brother went,
right.
And there was a ticket for me. I even had like a ticket, and I just wasn't into Muse at the time. And I was like, you know, I don't know. I for whatever reason, I was like, I couldn't be asked. I just didn't want to go. And then they came back saying, "Oh my god, it was the best thing ever I've seen." It's like, yeah, fine. I'm sure it was fine. I then watched the live DVD, and oh my god, it was one of the best things I've ever seen. I was like, oh, good God, why did I not go to that? So yeah, and then the same thing with the Foo Fighters. It's like I wasn't around at the time when it you know all kicked off. So I was like,
I just remember the to the end, and Dave Grohl goes, right, you know, it's our first time headlining Wembley, so we're doing something special and bringing out some friends. And I thought he was going to bring out like Chris Novoselic and do some Nirvana.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then he went, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jimmy Page and Mr. John Paul Jones, and I'm like, what?
Huh?
I just realised my wife was at that gig. as well.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, that's really
Damn
funny.
it.
But as a bass player, John Paul Jones is like my hero. It was
God tier.
basically
Oh yeah.
him, Geezer Butler, and Phil Lynott that made me pick up bass going from my dad's records.
Man.
And that was sort of half of Zeppelin, the closest thing I'll probably ever get.
Well, yeah, that is
Man, that
fair
was God
point.
tier.
Yeah.
I
Although I
didn't-
did see Robert Plant recently. I say recently, like a year ago, and it's very good. So
I'd like to see Plant. I really like his last couple of solo albums, though.
yeah, very good, very good. I really enjoy them.
But like, I didn't even realize Taylor Hawkins could sing that well until I saw the Foos live. And
Yeah.
then, wow.
Yeah.
Have you checked out his Coattail Riders album?
I checked out the first one that they did. Did they bring out a second one or something? I think
No,
Or
it's just that first one, but obviously that's a lot of Taylor singing, and I love that album. I think there's some great tunes on that one.
Yeah,
Not Bad Luck is an absolute banger.
that's a good song. Yeah, I remember hearing that.
Yeah.
We might have to squeeze that one into the show now, Kev.
Bring it all back.
Yeah. All right. So we've got Foo Fighters. You going for Clawfinger, Kev?
Yeah, man. Prisoners
Right.
by Clawfinger, please.
Adam, what's
I
the
just-
cherry
I
on
just
top?
named a bunch of albums from when I was. a
Adam's just going to take over the rest of the show.
Take your pick. Do all of them.
We'll pick In Waves, Trivium. That was a big moment. We
I don't
used
know
to
about you
cover
guys, but I thought I heard him say "Bring Me to Life" by Evanescence. Yeah, we'll go
Yeah.
with
that. Oh, that's a solid lie. And,
You do realise, Adam, I'm really good at editing.
that.
it's just going to be, I love Evanescence. They're total good.
Can you please play that song?
Thing is, I don't mind them as a band. I think they've got some good songs. It's just that one song. It's just like, oh, I could do with not hearing this again, to be honest.
Got overplayed, didn't it? It's like a lot of stuff. It's not
Yeah.
a bad tune. It just got overplayed.
That's
You're all
That's
wrong.
it.
It's a beautiful song. Have you seen the version of? There's like a back when Vine was a thing. There's a version of Goofy singing that song.
Yes.
It's really like, wake me up inside,
That was
save me.
actually a lot more listenable, I found.
Oh, you should.
Hey, bringing the shade.
Going shade, guys.
The thing is, I like a lot of stuff. So the things I don't like, I like to
You know, to drive it home.
just twist
Drive
them
it
out.
home.
Yeah.
All right, well, there's the three then. So
There we
we've
go.
got Adam doing the rest of the show. Sorry, we've got Adam doing Evanescence.
Yeah, that's what we've established. Yeah. With the rest of the show, here's bands from 2013. Here's the list I found. Let's go. Go till the sun comes up.
Create a playlist and then just press play on the show and go.
That's it. Teenage years shuffle. Let's
Here's
go.
Adam's teenage years. See you later. See you next week. So at the beginning of the show, though, we are going to play "Have My Say." But what song of yours would you like us to play at the end of the show?
I would personally like a bit of "So" at the end because that's one of the only other ones we've actually got released at the minute. So,
Fair enough.
yeah. So we'll do "Have My Say" and "So" would be great. Thank you.
That's cool, Sanjay. Well, cheers for your time, Steve. It's been good. Been cool.
It's been awesome, man. Thank you for having
Yeah,
us.
No.
Always lots of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Guys, I'll let you enjoy the rest of your Sundays. So have a good one and see you again soon.
All
Do
right.
it.
Thank you very much, Lee.
No worries,
Thank you.
dude. Catch you later.
Catch you later, man.